We're going to do a video on sharpening convex knives and maybe a little bit of technique with this one. I'm actually really happy with the edge on this. We'll test some paper real quick and see how these are cutting right now. Right now it has a polished 500 grit edge, I believe. Really toothy edge. It cuts super well. Okay, the Bark River Santos. This is I want to say this is a 3000 grit edge. Yeah, it's got some damage up here in the front. Otherwise, the actual heel and this portion of the blade is cutting well. Well, it's not in too bad a condition. This is really bugging me right now, so I want to take care of it. Okay, so I've got out the Chosra 800, one of my favorite stones. I think this will be a good stone to start with, just to reestablish the edge on my Bark River. Before we get into this, I want to mention that Jef Jewell gave me a shout out the other day in one of his videos, and for the little guy like me, man, like that kind of stuff is a huge deal, and he doesn't have to do that. He's just a genuinely nice dude, extremely talented sharpener. I mean, if you have even the slightest interest in sharpening, you should go check his channel out, because not only will you learn something, it's extremely relaxing and it's just fun to watch, because he's very fluid with his motions, and he knows what he's doing, and I think we could all learn a thing or two from him. You know, he doesn't bullshit, and you know, I don't know what else to say. He's a good guy. One channel that I've really been enjoying lately is Paddy's Potato Peelers. He's out of Ireland, and he does a bunch of really fun reviews on knives, and just recently did his first sharpening video, I think, and that was pretty entertaining to watch, because I definitely understand the anxiety of being in front of a camera and having to perform, you know, but that's what editing is for, right? You know? So I'm gonna link his channel in the description as well. But yeah, let's get into this. I want to go ahead and get it out of the way that I am not an authority on convex sharpening. I'm learning. I'm always learning. You know, often if I'm talking about something, it's subjective. It's my own opinion. So sharpening is just one of those things that you have to learn by doing. I mean, of course there's, you know, guided systems and belts and things of that nature, but you know, nobody is gonna do it for you. So really what it comes down to is scratching your knives up. I mean, I see the Bark River community all the time with these perfectly kempt blades that look like they've never seen anything but a piece of cantaloupe. Like, I don't know what they're doing with their knives. It's okay if you like to collect, but a lot of these dudes front like they use their knives, and it's painfully obvious that they haven't. Alright, so there's two schools of thought about doing convex sharpening. If any of you watch Virtual Vice, for instance, even Jef Jewell, he uses this method. He's basically gets the knife flat and he rolls his wrist as he comes back just to hit that apex. This is actually feeling pretty comfortable. We'll do one full pass like this. And with convex knives, you'll see immediately where you're taking off metal, especially if you've polished your knife as I have. So, and okay, so that works fine. I just, part of me doesn't like the lack of control that I have. I'm not too comfortable with rocking very much. But what I have more of a grasp on is doing this in stages, and I guess the first person that I learned this from was Sean Houston of Big Brown Bear. He's doing insane things with knife steel and knives in general, and really just pioneering a new era of knives, really, and he's an incredible dude. So, even from that one pass I did, I started to develop a burr here towards the heel. So, what I'm going to try is do it in stages like Sean recommends. So I'm basically just finding where the knife will lay flat. Just working my way up to the tip. Keeping light pressure in the area that I want to remove steel. You can see where my fingers are. Jeff was saying that I do this a lot, like this kind of Japanese way of sharpening. I actually try to stop doing that and learning how to switch hands, which I don't know if I've shown in any of my later videos, but I've actually adopted his style of sharpening. Let's see how that goes with this, see if it feels any better. You know what? That actually does feel a lot better. Okay, so we're going to cant the blade up slightly, and we should be nearing the apex. See if I can keep this angle while doing it Jeff's way. It's not too bad, actually. Here's what the blade is looking like. Now, don't let this scare you from sharpening your convex knives. I mean, if you own a Bark River, you can get this sent back and they'll refinish the knife for you. So I just don't see any point why you wouldn't sharpen it. It bothers me. Make it your own, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna move to the actual, where I feel like the apex is, lifting the knife up ever so slightly. Okay, it looks like I was hitting the entire length. That was actually pretty perfect. I've got a nice even burr down the entire length of the knife. Yeah, that was good. Okay, so I've created a burr on both sides. This is kind of a gray area for me, and this section of the video I'm just going to be trying to straighten and remove that burr on the stone as best as I can without creating an actual V-grind, which is harder to do than you would think, but you can do it. The other side took a lot less than the first side for some reason. I'm more comfortable sharpening in this motion. That's why I'm teaching myself to sharpen like this both ways, because I'm somewhat ambidextrous. So okay, so I'm gonna try to get this. I'm gonna use Jeff's method, the way I see him do it. I feel like when I first joined Bark River Facebook group, someone was saying that A2 likes to take a more toothy edge. I noticed that when I tried to polish it, it didn't react very well. So it seems we've got a nice even burr all the way up and down. Need a little bit of work in the heel and the tip. I'm using your method, Jeff. There it is. Okay. I'm going to continue to clean the blade and watch my work. It does feel like the burr is getting a bit smaller, but not quickly. Okay, I flipped it again. Let's see if we can try to remove this and straighten it out. And Jeff, if you're watching this, or anybody who has experience sharpening convex knives on waterstones, please give me any advice that you can. If you see any flaws, let me know. Really light pressure on these finishing passes. Okay, yeah, I've definitely reduced the burr quite a bit. Start doing some edge trailing strokes. Okay. It feels very sharp at this point. Although it does feel like my edge is rolled over to one side a little bit more. I believe it's this side. Now the reason I'm doing that, I'm switching hands and checking, is that if your edge is kind of leaning to one side or the other, you can tell by raking your thumb across it, to, just doing that edge test. And if it bites more on one side, your edge is leaning to one side or the other. Okay, so here's what we're looking like right now. Not terrible, but it's definitely not pretty, I'm going to use my handy dandy hard felt deburring block. I don't feel any burr, so I guess it did work. Okay, so question is, do we stop here or do we go to the 3K? I didn't feel like this knife polished very well, so you know what, just for the sake of practice and just getting better as a sharpener, I'm going to try to give this a more polished edge than it has. Just see how it goes. What's the worst that could happen? Seems I've created a small little burr again. Thanks for sticking around if you're still viewing. Okay, good. That pass did not cause another burr to happen. I was using extremely light pressure. Even so, still remove steel like a demon. And so I'm just going to do some edge trailing stropping. It's actually cutting much better than it was prior. There's a little hang up right there. Try to work that out. The stone's dry too. Whoops. Feels really good. Do a quick shave test. Yeah, we're tree topping at this point. I'm gonna strop it and then we'll conclude this video. So Jef usually prefers white compound. I don't know how the white compound from Bark River stacks up against Stropman white. Maybe you can answer that in the comments for me if you see this, but or anyone else that knows. But I do find that the CBN emulsion does something strange that I don't really care for. I've heard that the sprays are better, and I might give that a shot here in the future. Oh yeah, that is ridiculously sharp. You get the idea. So there's our final product. Like I said, it's not pretty, but it's functional. I take this knife everywhere, so you know, I need it to perform. Favorite knife though for heavy use.